I'm Richard Piet. This is the BC City Connection Podcast, the official podcast from the city of Battle Creek, Michigan. You might be seeing us on YouTube or Access Vision. You might be hearing us in podcast form. We welcome that. Here's a tip. All you have to do is go where you get podcasts and type BC City Connection, subscribe, and you'll get alerted when these episodes come about. You could follow the City of Battle Creek on YouTube as well. And know that even if you're watching us on Access Vision, you have those options as well. Here we are at the end of 2025. It's zoomed on by, and here we are with what's really becoming a bit of a tradition here, where we look back on the year and look ahead. And we have quite the group with us today. City Manager Amanda Zimmerlin is with us from Battle Creek, Assistant City Manager Ted Deering, and Mayor Mark Behnke. Welcome to all of you.
Good morning.
Thank you.
So the first thing I have to say is last year when the mayor and Ted were with us, we joked a little bit about one of the accomplishments, which was well regarded, the addition of an Olive Garden in Battle Creek. And we laughed about it at that time. There's been all kinds of attention on Beckley Road and around this area, hasn't there? And Ted's been immersed in that. It's true, isn't it, Ted?
It is true, right? As you know, I think we talked about this a little bit last year. We have been working on a reimagining of the Beckley Road corridor, and that process is progressing nicely. But it's really nice to see some momentum out there. And obviously, we talked about Olive Garden then. We can talk about Texas Roadhouse and a few others now. So it's great.
You'd have pasta for lunch and steak for dinner, or the other way around, something like that. That's right. Amanda, you have been here a little while now. We've already had a conversation, but I want to ask you again because there's been a little bit more time, right? How have things been as you've gotten settled in and looked around at what impresses you, what challenges you? Talk about that again, if you would.
I've been here about 3 months now. It's been a great 3 months. And I can tell you, I envision Battle Creek, where housing, people, and places grow together, intentionally, inclusive, and organically. A Battle Creek where neighborhoods are affordable but diverse. Looking at a really well-rounded housing strategy where we're touching low income, moderate, and a high income. Really bringing multiple housing options here. I think that successful housing foundation is a foundation for success for our city.
Sure. Folks need affordable places to live.
Yes.
And if they can't have that, a lot of other things get interrupted, don't they?
They do. They absolutely do. When we're talking about a well-rounded housing strategy, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. We just can't do that. And I know that our focus has been on low income to moderate income right now. But I think that we do need a diverse mix of single-family homes, those duplexes, mixed-use developments, workforce and attainable housing, and options for seniors, young professionals, and families.
This is ringing a bell, Mayor, right? You and I have talked about housing many times. And so it's still out there in the forefront, isn't it?
It is, and I tell you what, I think our city staff has worked really hard at putting together a list of possible developments throughout the city and following up with them. I know that Ted, every time I turn around, I'm having to ask him, can you send me the list of those developments that we feel a little more comfortable about? And I spoke just recently to one of the service clubs, and they're excited about our potential. They talk about the Blue Light Special one, but there's several that are throughout the city that we're doing our best, and we're just thankful that the Kellogg Foundation is supporting us and Battle Creek Unlimited too.
Yeah, what kind of year has this been, Ted? When you look back, sort of keeping the fort, holding down the fort, is that the expression? While we were sorting out when Amanda would be arriving, what kind of a year was this based on your experience of past years?
Well, I think it was a year of transition. I think that might be one of the best ways to describe it. Obviously, a significant transition in leadership here at City Hall. Some changes with the Kellogg Company, obviously, over the course of the year. BCU introducing a new strategic plan. I don't think that, the work that they have done over the past couple of years should be underlooked in any way. given their investment in the downtown and making projects like the DoubleTree happen. So I feel like it's all very positive, but it's change, right? And so, 2006 or 2026 is going to be our opportunity to take advantage of the change to move the community forward.
Yeah, it certainly is true when we look at even just the Kellanova Kellogg conversation, right? Mars closes on Kellanova. Faroe completed its WK Kellogg acquisition not all that long ago. It is change, isn't it? And this can make people a little uneasy. And Kellogg, has been such a long time fabric of our community, but it makes us nervous when this happens. Isn't that true, Mark? You've probably heard some of these things when you talk to people.
Yeah, and there's still quite a few of the articles that are coming out trying to project what it's going to look like. I mean, you're going to have two separate subsidiaries of those organizations operating in Battle Creek. So we'll still see the Kellogg name. The WK Kellogg Cereal Company will still be there. Kellanova will still be there. But they'll be operating under two family organizations. And I think that's great. I think that provides further opportunities for Battle Creek to excel.
Amanda, when you see this and you think about you bring an outside view, which can be helpful to the notion of an organization like Kellogg that's been so ingrained here, or any organization that has been in the foundation of the community, and maybe there's change afoot that feels uneasy in some ways. What's your view on that? And do you look on it as something which could be of significance?
Oh, it absolutely is a significance. But I think, we really need, as Mayor said, frame it as an opportunity. Frame it as an opportunity to continue to build those relationships with those companies, those institutions that are so ingrained within our community. And I think that, also with the outside companies coming in and purchasing those two, it gives us another perspective. They have an outside perspective of Battle Creek as well. And I think that it provides possibly a path to new beginnings for us.
Yeah. All right. So, Mark, what about you? You look back on 25, you see the transitional year, the traits of that. Also, what else do you see?
I just saw a city commission that rolled up their sleeves, that wanted to work together to do some things. I mean, you've got the $25 million fire station upgrade that's historic for Battle Creek. I mean, the firefighters been operating out of a lot of smaller facilities. Now they're going to have a lot larger facilities. It gives an opportunity to just work together with other municipalities. But that'll be something to see for Battle Creek. There's going to be some fine fire stations in our community, starting with station number 2 and station number 3. We saved the station from being demolished in Post Franklin. So I think that's important. I think if you look at the commission, as a very conservative commission, but with the vote of our city manager, they rolled up their sleeves. They understood the opportunities that we have with Amanda, and they said, we want to put our best foot forward, and we want to support her. And then we came through with a unanimous vote for her. And that sends a strong message to the community that we understand we need the best person, and Amanda was our best person.
Yeah, and the process of finding Amanda took longer than perhaps was anticipated. There was a second round through which you went in the search. Talk about that a little bit, Mark. Was that that felt a little uneasy for some folks?
Well, we stuck with Michigan Municipal League. They worked with us on the city attorney. They did a very nice job. I like her. But I think this was a little bit out of their league, and we needed to go to a bigger firm, and that's what we did. Ted brought to our attention the firm that we ended up with actually had bid previously and was ranked very high, but unfortunately we didn't see that and what they could bring to the plate. And I think that the representative of that firm knew how to work with a lot of the candidates, knew how to work with Amanda, and ultimately made a recommendation to us that I really appreciated. So, the consultants, they're not cheap, but at the same time, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, Ted, that's an important thing, right? I mean, a fair amount of folks rely on the benefit of an outside guide, you might say, to lead municipalities through this situation. For example, The city commission, the elected officials, don't necessarily spend their professional hours immersed in HR and hiring and executive search. So this makes a difference, doesn't it, when you have folks who do?
Yeah, and I think it was a great process. I have to give the commission a lot of credit for looking at where we were after the first round, saying, "Hey, we're not really quite where we want to be yet. We're going to take the time necessary to get the right person for Battle Creek." And these processes, do a good job of attracting folks that are looking, but they don't always necessarily attract folks that aren't looking, who might be a really good fit for our community. So I think having a chance to go through a second round helped us identify a really strong field of candidates. And then one, obviously, who emerged out of that group who seems to be the perfect fit for Battle Creek. So, the process was a little longer we anticipated, but the end result, I think, was exactly what the commission was looking for.
Amanda, I want to give you a chance to talk about that again. The idea that you were examining this opportunity,
Hmm.
what stood out to you as you did?
While I was looking at whether or not Battle Creek was going to be a good fit for me, I have to say I was very grateful for Ted. I mean, he was willing. I picked up the phone and I called him and I was like, "Hey, Ted, tell me about Battle Creek. Tell me about all the good things. Tell me about the bad things." He was incredibly candid, which I appreciate. And I came away from that with the idea that what, Battle Creek is going to be a great place for me. That we may have some self-deprecating tendencies, just like every city, right? We don't realize what we have. But being able to come here to hear Ted, to actually visit the community before I decided to apply, I'm like, this is the place for me.
Yeah, I do recall, Mark, you saying at one point during this process, one of the candidates had been here, I think more than once. Guess who that was? So that means that there was a certain level of seriousness going on about this choice on both sides. And that probably stood out, right, Mark? Would you say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Ted shared with me that she had called a few times. And then I think the first weekend after it was revealed who our finalists were, she was here in town and spent the weekend here on her way to another business trip. So I think that's important. It shows the seriousness of that individual candidate. And then I believe there was a second visit that came through. And I just think it's important to the city commission to get the right person. And I think that we worked hard enough together with Ted and with the consultant to make certain that we had all the information that we needed to make the right decision for the people of Battle Creek.
All right. Let's look forward now. 2026. Amanda, what do you see as the priorities here and maybe some of the challenges?
Sure. We've already talked about housing, so I'm not going to go back into that. But I do think that we have an opportunity to continue to build on momentum. I mean, when you look at our successes that we've had downtown with the new restaurants that have come in, Gull Lake is one of our newest. These continued wins to move downtown being more of a destination where people want to gather. I know it's one of the things that I was really excited about when I came here is that we have a downtown, we have a city center, we have a gathering space. And, I think that if we have that strong downtown, it's going to continue to boost our small businesses and help the larger economy for the city. I also think, when we're looking forward, shoring up our public safety right now, we don't have a fire chief. That is one of my top priorities is getting a good qualified fire chief in there to really help steer the department and help us become or better, not better, but be a better department. And then also we have an opening for the deputy police chief. Our current deputy police chief is retiring. So hopefully early in 2026, we'll also have a new deputy, someone to help Chief Bagley to help guide the department.
Is hiring a challenge in these areas like we hear it can be in other areas?
It can be. I mean, I think that there is just kind of a draw on public safety anyway. I mean, it's hard work. It's very hard work. And not as many people go into that line of work that used to go into it. But I think that, even with our fire department, whether we hire internally or externally, I think we have a great candidate. Internally, we have some very, very good candidates.
Ted, what do you think? You have, in particular, an economic development view of things, but even more than that, what does 26 look like to you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously and Amanda mentioned it a minute ago too. I mean, housing is going to remain the number one economic development priority for us in 2026. As the mayor mentioned, there are several projects in the works in various stages of development. I think in this role, I'm going to work hard to try to facilitate all of those to fruition, right? Um, as we'd love to see, groundbreak on a number of these projects in 2026. So, and then, as Amanda and the mayor have both mentioned too, actually implementing the fire facilities upgrades, right? Some of that work is beginning late this year, but the vast majority of that work will take place in 2026. And that's exciting for obviously our public safety team, our which includes both police and fire, and the community as well. So there's some good things that are going to happen. We're continuing to work with Battle Creek Unlimited on the various initiatives that they've got going on too. And I think we're going to see some good things happen in 2026.
Mayor, what do you hear? I imagine all of you, when folks meet you on the street, have something to say. But Mayor Behnke gets out there maybe a little more often, and he's seen a lot. So I presume that you get a lot of folks who talk to you maybe more frequently. What do people say about what they're concerned about or what they're happy about, et cetera?
Well, I think people just want to know exactly what's going on. I mean, when is the Jack in the Box going to open? And those types of things. Well, I think they're great. I really do, because they're spending disposable income in our community, and that's important. I think Ted's worked hard on the Lakeview Downtown Development Authority, and I think you're going to see some other outlets being sold at the mall. I think the mall is going to use that, but I think they need to work with our administration, because there are some funding mechanisms that we can use to assist them in making the right decisions for the people at Battle Creek for the next 20 or 30 years. I also hear a lot about economic development in downtown Battle Creek. There's been a lot of things. Percy Bean has 99 West Michigan Avenue. He's going to develop that into a multi-million-dollar facility. And that is huge. Him and his wife have been consistently present in our downtown community when it comes to that. So I can go on, but I think the Calhoun County Transit Authority is a huge plus for the people at Battle Creek. So I look forward to working with Mallory. Even though she's not a city employee anymore, I think she's the right person in the right place at the right time. And you're going to see transit, that hurdle being eliminated in our community, especially on the north side of Battle Creek.
I think the answer to this might be somewhat obvious, but let's make sure. Why is this important for Battle Creek? And practically speaking, how will it help the transit authority? I mean,
I'll give you a quick example. I had my car in the shop and I forgot that I had to be at a meeting at noon. I called the transit authority. They had someone there within 5 minutes. And then they picked me up after I was done, and for $3 each way. And if
yeah,
people understand that, if it comes to a doctor's appointment, maybe they're relying upon a relative to pick them up and something happens, they don't have to cancel it. They can call the authority, and the authority will dispatch a vehicle there within a minute. Easy to get into, very clean, little box that you put your $3 in. So you can't beat
yeah.
that. That's what it's about. And you're going to work out in Fort Custer. I see a lot of these vehicles at Lakeview High School when I drop my son off in the morning. So
Hmm.
the kids are using them.
Amanda, you've seen this too, I presume. Transit becomes one of the key issues, right? If you
Hmm.
can't get somewhere, it now is a problem to your livelihood.
Absolutely.
How did
Yeah.
this look to you as you joined us and looked at this transit authority that was coming together based on others that you've seen or maybe become acquainted with?
Absolutely. Accessibility is a big deal. Having people be able to get to where they need to be able to feel as though they are part of the community because they can access the entire community is a big thing. Where I come from, we did have a regional transit authority. So when I saw that we were migrating to that here, I was like, okay, this is good. We are going to be able to expand throughout the entire county to help bring people together.
Yeah, and if it really does work like you've said, Mark, call them up and it can happen, or you can schedule ahead of time. I think this is a huge difference.
Absolutely. I encourage everyone, just try it. And you'll be so happy that you were able to save a problem for someone else and you eliminate it yourself.
Yeah. Ted, you've observed this, and you have an institutional memory on the notion of transit and the challenges with which we've dealt. How do you see it? This helps people get to, I don't know, Beckley Road and downtown and all these places we keep talking about.
Yeah, for people that are privileged enough to have a vehicle, right, we take that all for granted. And people that don't, as Amanda pointed out, they can't stay employed, they can't stay healthy, they can't feed their family because they lack access to transportation to do that. And so I think this is great for the community. The TAC, which we refer to as the acronym, the TAC, has a very robust service plan in mind that would significantly expand on-demand services, to essentially all hours of the day, almost a 24/7 operation. We have not had that in the past, particularly on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's going to be a big change for people. And so they're going to need a little time to ramp up. I understand everybody's really anxious for change immediately, right? And they're doing a good job of transitioning to a self-sustaining transportation organization. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I think 1, 2, 3 years from now, we'll have a very robust and much appreciated transit operation in our community.
I'm going to ask sort of this broad question, and any of you can answer, or all of you if you want. What's the biggest opportunity we have right now in Battle Creek for advancement of some sort?
I'm happy to answer that. I'll give you my take.
Yeah.
I think I've said it before, but it's our people. I really think that is our biggest opportunity. Being here for the first 3 months, the number of nonprofit, non-governmental organizations that I've met with who want to help, who want to move everyone forward, who want to lift everyone is impressive. I think that our opportunity and one of our challenges is going to be just making sure we're all marching in the same direction. But I think everybody kind of has the same goal in mind that, everybody wants to make Battle Creek the best that it can be.
Mayor, what do you think?
Well, and I agree with Amanda there, but I also say that Lejeune Montgomery Tavern sent out a letter last week on Friday, and there were some key identifications in that letter that you're going to see their commitment to Battle Creek increase in some new areas. Still, children are very important to the W.K. Kellogg Foundation and families, but she specifically said that because of these sales, they're going to be refocused on some of the things that need to be done in our community, and we're going to take a leadership role in that. And they're going to be studying things. And I think that was remarkable coming from her. She is so committed to our community that I think it was a good message to read. And I encourage people to reread that letter because there was a lot of thought that went into it.
Yeah, this touches on some of the things that we alluded to a moment ago. The idea that when change like this happens, it makes us feel a little unsettled. And frankly, sometimes we say, look, these companies have been so committed to our communities. What happens now? If decisions are being made elsewhere, do they feel the same for Battle Creek that maybe has been the case in the past? And you start worrying about philanthropy and things of this nature. I think what you're saying, Mark, is someone's observing this and saying, let's look at this closely.
And I think that her message was the right time and the right place on that Friday when the sale was sold.
Yeah, well timed. Yeah. What do you think, Ted? What's our biggest opportunity?
Yeah, and I know we have talked a lot about housing, but I think our biggest opportunity is to truly make Battle Creek a live, work, play destination. One of our biggest challenges and our greatest opportunity is this notion that there are a lot of people who work in Battle Creek that don't necessarily live in Battle Creek. And I think addressing housing, philanthropic investment, and a lot of other things can make this the type of an attractive community where you would like to both live and work. And so I think, we have a great opportunity to address housing, transportation, childcare, quality of life, etc., to, attract folks into the community. And again, I think it's our current largest challenge, and it's also our greatest opportunity.
Mark, one of the things that I know you're focused on is that Amanda gets acclimated and she becomes among the faces of the community. How does that work? What's your view? I mean, you're a face of the community. Ted's a face of the community. Amanda is too. How does this all work, and how do you envision Amanda and her role in visibility?
Well, I've seen Amanda operate, and I think that she truly believes in what she has to offer, and she understands the responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. She's shepherding close to 500 employees in the city of Battle Creek, and she's already mentioned that she has two difficult positions to fill. Plus, she's going to have Ted's position at some point in time to fill. Those are big, big decisions to make, I feel, especially the fire chief. We have not been successful with the fire chief in the last 5 years. So we've got to work a little bit harder there. The second in command in the police department is a difficult one. And of course, Ted is. Ted is everywhere. And he's done a great job when it comes to being there for Amanda and her responsibility. So, we, as a commission, we need to allow her to do her job. And I believe that this commission is. I hope there will not be anyone standing in her way.
Amanda, it was not my intention to talk about you like you're not here. What do you think your role is in terms of visibility?
Well, I think that volunteering in the community, especially if we're talking about just getting into the trenches and being with people, volunteering in the community, I think is a big part of that. Going out and actually, boots on the ground, going out to help. You can talk all day long about, wanting to make, a better place, but if you're not willing to go out and do it, it doesn't mean a whole lot. So I think that I have the opportunity to do it twofold. One, through policy that the city sets, and then also through actually going out and helping.
Good
All
point.
right. You were going to say, Mark?
I thought that was a very good point. I mean,
Yeah.
she wants to get down there and get dirty and really understand where people are coming from. And I think
Yeah.
that's important. And I think I've heard from her, a lot of people have said, hey, I called and got an appointment and I actually got to meet her. And I think that's something that we may have not seen in the past as much as we should have. Everyone gets an appointment to see the city manager. I think that's a big plus.
All right. Ted, you're not really leaving, are you?
Well, I tell you, I would say I'm not focused on that right now. I'm really more focused on trying to be a resource to Amanda to help her get settled and go through the transition. But things are inevitable, right? I've been around for a while, and I think we can get excited about the future of Battle Creek, and new leadership like Amanda Zimmerlin, for example, will be good for the community. And so, again, I'm not focused on it now, but I recognize that transition will happen over time.
Yeah, well, it's probably a good thing that you're not focused on it at the moment after the changes that we have made, right? Speaking of transitional years, city manager change and city attorney change,
Mm-hmm.
these are key positions that have changed within months of one another, and so it's nice to have some institutional memory around, right? And have that support for a while going forward. So good point, I suppose, on all of that. Well, thanks to all of you. We always appreciate having this opportunity at the end of the year to talk about and reflect on what we've just seen and look ahead. And we'll continue to check in over the course of the next 12 months.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you,
Thank
Richard.
you.
Thanks to all of you. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the BC City Connection podcast and get alerted when these episodes come available. Thanks for being with us.